Yeah, I'm gonna change my position here and see if this changes the garbling. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Just a little better.
I can hear you fine.
I still have trouble with David. Okay. Is this any better?
That's great.
It's louder for one thing.
Sounds fine to me.
Okay.
I don't know if you called the roll, but I didn't hear my name called.
Okay, now are we ready?
Ready. We're waiting.
Okay.
Do it.
Well, first thing I'd like to do is to let you know that this teleconference is being live recorded on the WIDA YouTube channel. It also needs to be transcribed word for word. So please refrain from any unnecessary comments as they will be included in the minutes. And if you could, before you speak, please state your name so I get an accurate person as to who's making the comment. And we will do a roll call vote for everything. There will be no voice votes. I just wanted to let you know this is our compliance regulations for teleconferencing. So let me get on to attendance. Craig Leggett.
Here.
Michael Biddle.
Here.
Brian Campbell.
Here.
Jenny Sullivan.
Here.
Mike Wild.
I'm here.
Dan Bruno.
Here.
Bruce Ferguson. Nick Caimano.
Here.
Dave O'Brien.
Here.
Kara, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Lester Losa?
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully we get through this fairly quickly. I know the phone lines are a little not very user-friendly, but we'll go from here. First item of the business is we mailed out the procurement policy. And has everyone had a chance to review the procurement policy as mailed? Yes. 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 If so, does anyone have any questions or comments on it? No. Okay. So if that's the case, I'll accept the motion to approve the procurement policy. Correct. So moved. Second. Brian Campbell moved. Who seconded it? Nick seconded. Yes. Any further discussion? Yes, I have a question. It says on the email that this is IDA/CDC, but that's been changed now. It's only IDA, correct? Correct. We're only doing the IDA now. We'll do the CDC second in the second part. Okay. All right. So that's what the motion should be. Correct. Any further questions on this? Comments? Roll call vote, please, Ally.
Craig Leggett.
Yes.
Michael Biddle.
Yes.
Brian Campbell.
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan.
Yes.
Mike Wild.
Yes.
Dan Bruno.
Yes.
Nick Caimano.
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, that motion carried. Moving on to internal controls procedure. This is a new thing required by the ABO to be submitted. We usually don't have to, but that's why we need to review that in the procurement policy now. In terms of accounts payable, it walks through in this paper in front of you how we enter the office administrator enters payments in QuickBooks. Checks are prepared. The payables are listed on a monthly board meeting agenda. Upon approval by the board, the treasurer, the agency chair, or vice chair in his absence signs the checks and reviews the accompanying invoice, signing off on vouchers or invoices when indicated. Any checks from the main operating account that are greater than $600 require signatures by 2 officers. The one exception is pilot payments. Pilot payments do not need second signatures because they're time sensitive and they're actually just a pass-through payment, as indicated below. So that includes accounts payable. Second, pilot payments. Pilot payments are invoiced by the office administrator in January for property and special district taxes, June for village taxes, September for school taxes according to the project's individual agreements. A report of all pilot invoices is distributed to the board for their information. Any water and sewer maintenance charges are invoiced to the project during the year as received by the agency from the government entities out of the pilot escrow pass-through account. Upon receipt from payments from the developers, the agency via the office administrator prepares checks from the escrow account for payment to the appropriate government entities. Checks from this account require one signature by the treasurer or chair or vice chair in his absence. So pilot payments are also listed on the board meeting agenda for review by the full board monthly meeting. Any questions to this point?
This is also for IDA only, right?
This is also for IDA only, right? Bank reconciliations. The office administrator performs the bank reconciliations on all accounts through QuickBooks. Resulting reconciliation report and bank statement are given to the treasurer, chair, or vice chair in his absence for review and sign off every month. ACH transfers. The administrator may process ACH transfers at Glens Falls National Bank up to $1,200 per business day as per executive committee's revised in 2019. This would mostly be used for the payroll and payroll taxes. Payroll. Office administrator requires a weekly timesheet ending with each Friday. Office administrator inputs the weekly web pay for the processing via the Glens Falls National Bank Internet Banking Program. Office administrator is paid on the Monday following the previous week of employment by direct deposit. Timesheet and bank deposit is reviewed and signed off by treasurer, chair, or vice chair in the absence. All payroll-related payments are noted on the board meeting agenda under payables for formal approval every month. Payments via the internet for ETPS and prompt tax are input by the office administrator. Quarterly payroll forms are prepared as required by the office administrator or contracted accountant and reviewed and signed by the agency treasurer, chair, or vice chair in his absence. As required by New York State as of April 15th, the New York NYS 45 is electronically submitted after approval by the treasurer, chair, or vice chair in his absence. Resulting web form is printed down and initialed after review. Employee paid time off. The office administrator is paid for holidays, personal sick days, vacation per his employee contract. Personal sick vacation time is approved by an officer, usually the chair, and noted on the weekly timesheet. A spreadsheet for the employment year of the time off is kept for review and signed off by the secretary, treasurer, chair, or vice chair at the end of the employment year. W-2s and 1099s are required forms are prepared annually by the office administrator or contracted accountant. Transmittal form along with the pertinent copies are reviewed and appropriately signed by the treasurer, chair, or vice chair for mailing. Project job counts. Number of full-time equivalency for each project is given to the chair of the Audit and Finance Committee and should be reviewed by the committee on an annual basis. Information based on surveys submitted by the developers to the agency at each end of each year. Comparison reporting. The office administrator inputs all the appropriate information required by the PAAA of 2005 and PARA of 2009 at end year. Website requires several streams of information be input regarding policies and projects of corporation. All information is reviewed at year-end by the agency's retained independent accountant. Paris input is certified by the CFO. Any questions on that? No. Having heard none, I'll request a motion to approve the internal controls.
Michael Biddle, I'll put forward the motion.
Motion by Mike Campbell. Do I have a second? Who did the second?
Brian Campbell.
Brian Campbell. Okay. would you do the roll call, please?
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Next item is independent auditors report.
This is Michael Biddle. The Finance and Audit Committee met just before this meeting, and the Finance and Audit Committee presents the financial statements for the IDA portion to the full board for approval.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments on the 2019 financial statements?
Okay, now just get the right one before me. This is Craig Leggett. Yeah. What's the title of this one? Final FS PDF? Yes, you got it, Craig. And Craig, it starts on page 5 as far as the financial numbers themselves, and you'll see, for the benefit of the entire board, that the IDA and the CDC are in parallel next to each other on these financial statements. We're just looking right now for this part of the meeting at the IDA portion of the financials. Okay.
Okay. Any more comments or questions? I do have a comment. I think that our financial statements are strong right now. I do note at the end of the year we had about a $14,000 loss. I don't remember the exact figure. That's due to not having as many sales of properties or projects coming in. Though we do have our up and down years, I do want to caution that this year, with everything that's going on, I hope that we can at least bring WO Plastics in, as well as hopefully there are some potential sales at the park to bring in. But I do want to caution people that we need to, in the future, really get together and get more of a sales and marketing program going. I know we've talked about doing it. I've appointed Mr. Biddle as chair of that committee, and I don't remember who is.
Mr. Bruno is on it, Mr. Campbell, and I apologize.
I thought I was on it, but apparently not.
And Nick is as well. You're very forgettable, so it took me a minute to come up with that.
You're too far away to remember, Nick. See what happens when you can't see him?
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, we will get that going. Quite frankly, I personally, overwhelmed is not the right word, but been putting in some pretty hefty days with this coronavirus thing vis-a-vis the membership at the chamber. So once that settles down, I can certainly move forward with this whenever that might be. Or I'm also happy to remand the chairmanship of the Sales and Marketing Committee to somebody else. And that's at your guidance, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll take that under consideration.
We can't do anything now until after April anyway. So, Michael, why don't we just hold off until then and see what happens?
I agree.
That would be my preference.
My statement's only to make a caution that we have a tough year coming ahead of us. We don't know how to have a forecast ball, but we need to make sure we are being more aggressive about getting our message out there.
I'm not kicking the can down the road. I'm saying that because of all the things that we're waiting to fall into place regarding the virus thing, nothing is going to be done until at the end of April, May 1st, in that first week of May anyway. But then we got to promise ourselves to actually do something.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. So I need a motion to approve financial statements for the IDA.
I'll move it. Nick.
Who was that? Was that Nick?
Nick, yeah.
Motion by Nick. Do I have a second? Brian Campbell, second. Any other comments? Roll call, please, Al.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes.
The point of order, Mr. Chairman, the garbling on the phone has gone away. It's very clear right now.
Well, that's wonderful. Okay, moving. Good. Next one is we need to, this isn't required, but Kara suggests we do this. In the resolution sent out, Silver Bay has requested interest-only payments for 3 months from Glens Falls National Bank. And you'll see that resolution.
Dave,
Yes.
isn't that under the CDC?
Yeah.
Pardon?
That's under the CDC.
Okay, sorry. Thanks for correcting me.
Are you looking at the wrong agenda?
But moving along. Greenwich Preservation has asked us
About extension of due diligence for Fort Edward.
extension due diligence for Fort Edward. Our original date was March 30th. It looks like it's going to extend.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
So,
Mike Wild. Mr. Chairman.
yes?
Yeah, Mike Wild. I would just like to make a suggestion because Brian's getting very disrupted, possibly someone not being on mute. So if I could just ask everyone to go on mute when they're not speaking, it might help with the audio quality.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome. I'll come back off mute.
So, this resolution extends the time frame for due diligence for 60 days on the dewatering facility. Any questions on the extension?
What is the 60 days? What's the end of that? What's the actual?
60 days would be May 30th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a resolution to pass this resolution.
I'll move it, Nick.
Nick moves it. Do I have a second?
Second by Craig.
Second by Craig. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Gary? The last one on here is approval of Greenwich Preservation sales tax extension. So they're not asking for any more money. They're just asking for extension of the time frame that they have to use it in. I think it was to the end of the year. We do this extension for a lot of people. A lot of companies are coming to a point. My understanding is that on Friday there was a submission, there was a governor's edict that no more construction will be done. There's been a halt on construction, and this fits into that. This didn't start then; it started before. I think they got off track with some of their. I know they got off track with some of their grant funding and resources. I think Mike Biddle, you might have some further updates on that, on the current status. I think. Have you talked to Mr. Wade?
I have on a regular basis. Yeah, Mr. Wade was running into issues just trying to find enough subcontractors that fit into the grant's needs and wishes, which included women-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses. And then with this he had a grant that expired actually tomorrow. He looks like he's going to get an extension on that from the state. It's a Main Street grant. And then just in general, he went through some of his own subcontractors and found other things. But I toured the restaurant recently prior to this whole outbreak, and overall things look pretty good for him, other than he needs this extension because he can't get help up there right now.
Any other questions on this resolution?
Yeah, this was, I've been online for some time. Yeah, this project, it bothers me because it's gone so long and so slow. Part of the project was on the other side of Main Street, restoring an old building. Mike, you got anything to say about what's happening there? Are you going to do it? Or?
Well, Bruce, a couple things. Number one, his initial projection for the project was $1.25 million. And once he got into it and found out several construction challenges with it that were tough for anybody to see, including the initial inspector, his costs went from $1.25 million to over $2 million. So it's extended because he has to also stay within state mandates on historic preservation building. This is the Wally's itself. So he's been putting all of his attention there. There has not been, to answer your question, Bruce, there hasn't been as much attention across the road at the brick building. That's what you're talking about, right? The brick building?
I just,
yeah.
yes, plus the fact that I drive by there every day, or every week going to the railroad, and lately there's been nothing going on, and I just wonder if there isn't more that we should know about other than it's sort of answered out of it.
And I actually don't think that the building across the street was part of our package with them. I know he's taken some loans out with the Washington County LDC to cover part of that, but I'll have to check and make sure. Kara, is that right? I don't think he included the building as part of his pilot.
No, both parcels are included in that.
Oh, they are? Okay. So we'll have to get a status update and see what's going on with them shortly. Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to approve this?
This is Michael Biddle.
Yes.
I'll second it. Somebody just moved it.
Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Campbell moved it. Mr. Biddle seconded it. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Bruce Ferguson,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Resolution carries. One quick update. I had a conference call with WL Plastics today. We got, I think I sent it out to everyone, we got a draft deed for the road. We're working on the subdivision of the properties. We are pretty well at the mercy of the town of Fort Edward and their planning board to go through some of this stuff. So hopefully we can get this underway. But the update on WL Plastics is they are pleased with the progress of the road coming over. They're still committed to the project. They hope to, once they get a better feeling that the road is being taken care of and all the parcels are being taken care of, that they will then hopefully in 30 days start their subdivision process with the town and village of Fort Edward. And again, that's going to be based on both the town and village can put this together to operate this. Their commitment is to hopefully close by August, September timeframe. They do have equipment scheduled to come in that they need stored in September. So it looks like they're moving forward. As I talked to them a couple weeks ago, This is a critical part of their diversifying their operation, and it's a key part of where they're going from here. So they're still committed, and I will keep you up to date with what's going on as I hear more. Any questions? Okay. So before I forget, the one thing we do need to do is, based on the financials and the Paris report, Mike, you did the review of the Paris report in the Audit and Finance Committee, so you please report on that. We need to accept that for submission.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, you should have all received an attachment from Miss Alley labeled 2019 Annual Report for Warren Washington County's Industrial Development Agency. This is the IDA Paris report. The first 20 or so pages focus on the makeup of the board and our administration in the office, and then about page 23 on are all of the IDA projects that Miss Alley got all the numbers, which the numbers look solid, proper, and in good order. Pages 23 through 50, each of our members that have projects going on through the IDA. To remind the board, last year we didn't get this in till much later, so this would be timely if the board, the Finance and Audit Committee just unanimously approved to move this to the full board for full approval. And I want to again commend Miss Alley, Mr. McCarthy, and WDR, but mainly Miss Alley for making a lot of this happen.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Do I have a motion to approve this? Okay, Nick. Oh, Nick with a motion. Do I have a second? Brian, second. Brian, second. Any further discussion? Allie, do your thing, please.
Craig Leggett.
Yes. Thank you, Allie.
You're welcome. Michael Biddle.
Yes.
Brian Campbell.
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan.
Yes.
Mike Wild.
Yes.
Dan Bruno.
Yes.
Bruce Ferguson.
Yes.
Nick Caimano.
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Carried. Any further business come before the IDA?
Mr. Chairman, we just have to approve, the full board just needs to approve the job counts.
Okay. So the job counts were sent out, and we reviewed them in the Audit and Finance Committee and Mr. Audit and Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, you should. Everyone should have received an attachment from Miss Alley that's labeled WWIDA projects, and then FTE job counts directly under that. This is all of, actually on the same page, and we'll have to do this for the 3 customers in CDC, but we're just focusing on the IDA counts now. Per the Finance and Audit Committee, we unanimously passed this to present it to the board to be filed in Paris. And again, awesome job by Allie putting this together.
Mr. Chairman, Craig here.
Yes, Craig.
So what does it mean when they say completed? There's 2 instances, the BBL Tribune and the Kenny Dietrich Amherst.
Can I?
Those projects are completed, so we no longer have to report those.
Okay.
And they don't have to submit them, so they're completed projects. They probably should drop off the list for next year.
Right, because I was just doing a little quick math. Under the year ending 2019, there's no total there, but it does come out of 1,256, whereas the full-time jobs per application was 1,242, and that includes the Dietrich, Kenny Dietrich, and BBL Tribune of just about a little over 400. So I think we've done a lot better than what was projected.
Very good. Thanks for catching that, Craig. questions? Could I have Ally do her thing again, please?
Does anybody need to make a motion and second?
Craig makes a motion.
Or a second?
Okay,
For job count. Second, Nick.
Okay, Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Bruce Ferguson,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Okay. Any of the business come before the IDA? Okay, adjourn that. I open the meeting for the CDC. We still have the same attendance, so we'll waive that. First item of business is we need to look at Silver Bay Association, as I said earlier. They're getting three months of interest only from Glens Falls National Bank. We don't think we require a resolution on this, but Kara recommended we do that, recognizing that, so we have it on record. So that's what that resolution does. Do I have any questions on that?
Brian, so moved.
Moved by Brian. Do I have a second?
Speak up, boys. Nick.
Nick, seconded it. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Abstain.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Bruce Ferguson,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Carried. So the next one is procurement policy, internal controls. We went through them pretty detailed in the IDA meeting. There are no changes. They're exactly the same document except for the titles. So I would entertain a motion to accept both of these at once and save some time.
Brian, I'll move them both.
Brian moves both of them.
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan second.
Yes.
Any further questions? Allie, up to you.
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Bruce Ferguson,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Need to approve the financial reports, the independent audit reports. Mike, any comments on that?
Yes, there's three things that we have to approve. Two of them are embedded in the one. So we have the financial statement, which we'll need to approve, and then and then the next one would be the Paris report, and then the next one would be the job counts, which are found on a separate piece of paper that we approved for the IDA. So there's actually three different things, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I would look for the financial statement, which Mr. Leggett had asked before. It is labeled 12/31/19 Final FS, which has both the IDA and CDC financials in it, and it starts on page 5 as far as the dollars. I looked at this thoroughly, and it looks good. I just remind the board that the CDC is a much different entity than the IDA. So the CDC total net position for 2019 is 21,000 and change, as opposed to the IDA net position is 1.2 million. But the Finance and Audit Committee unanimously approved this to pass along to submit for consideration for full approval by the board.
Okay, any questions on any of this? on that document? Entertain a resolution, motion.
Craig on the motion.
Greg on the motion. Do I have a second?
Brian, second.
Brian, second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
You do that. Roll call.
Craig Leggett, Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Bruce Ferguson,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Carried.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the next one that was passed unanimously for consideration of the full board from the Finance and Audit Committee is labeled 2019 Annual Report for Counties of Warren, Washington Civic Development Corporation. This is what Ms. Alley has gathered and submitted or would like to submit into Paris. Again, the due date in the ABO. The due date is March 31. We will be on time and proper and in good order. This is for 3 customers, which can be found on pages 25, 26, and 27. That'd be Adirondack Housing Association, Triple HN, and Silver Bay Association. And I put this forward to the board on behalf of the Finance and Audit Committee for consideration and passage and approval.
All right. Can I have a motion to accept that?
Yes, Brian Campbell.
Brian Campbell, yes. Makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second, Craig Leggett. And any other further comments? Miss Alley?
Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes. Ginny Sullivan?
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Bruce Ferguson,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes.
I'm curious, Mike. I heard you say that the deadline was March 31st. I would gather that the ABO doesn't even go to their office, but they didn't think enough of us to put that off for 30 days, given the situation we're in now.
Miss Alley, I didn't look into that. Did you look into that at all?
I did. I did email them to see because I wasn't sure if I was going to get all my job counts in time, and I just wanted to give them a heads up. And they are aware of the situation and that businesses are closed and people are working from home, and it's a lot harder to get things done. And they did say they weren't officially extending the due date, but they did state that it would be acceptable to have as accurate as information as possible, even if it's submitted at a later date.
That's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Good. The last item is job counts. Mike?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The same job count sheet that we referenced for the IDA projects, it's titled WWIDA projects, right underneath of it, FTE job counts. At the bottom of the page, you'll find the WWCDC and the 3 clients that we have, Adirondack Housing, Hudson Headwaters, and Silver Bay Association. These are the same, fettered out the same way with the same reports that the IDA projects are. And the Finance and Audit Committee put these forward unanimously to the full board for consideration and approval.
Okay. Any questions on the report? I'll entertain a motion to accept that as offered.
Brian Campbell, so moved.
Brian Campbell moved. Do I have a second?
Craig Leggett,
second. Craig Leggett seconds it. Any further comments? All in favor? Excuse me, roll call.
Craig Leggett, Craig Leggett,
Yes.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Bruce Ferguson,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, it's carried. Any other further business come before the CDC? I want to thank you for your time and appreciate you taking your time out to finish up these last minute matters. And it's nice to get the Paris report submitted on time. Thank you very much for your time.
Hang on, nephew Biddle.
Yes, sir.
Would you please give me a 5-minute call right after this? I have something for ARCC membership.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I will.
Okay.
Have a nice day,
We're
boys.
adjourned.
It's only